Hey there, listeners of the Paranormal UK Radio Network. This is Chris Carr, the co-host of Bigfoot and the Bunny and the Dark Horse Paranormal Podcast. As I'm sure you guys know, those shows are live stream shows, which means they come to you with all their glorious imperfections. And I wanted to just kind of set up this podcast for you, which is actually going to be two different shows because they're both about an hour long. And the first part of it was from this past week. We interviewed a friend of ours. This is a really sweet lady. Her name is Liz Milne, and she is a Scottish paranormal investigator. She likes to go out and investigate with her family, her daughter, and her grandson, who also makes an appearance in the interview. And it's probably the second interview that she's done, and she had lots of great stories for us, and it was a lot of fun. In fact, they were all getting together to go investigate a very old Scottish cemetery right after this interview, which they live streamed and we watched, and they were getting activity, which was very interesting. And she's a very interesting lady and very sweet. And we like Liz. She joins a lot of our live stream chats and follows a lot of the shows that we like. And we thought it'd be great to talk to her one-on-one and have a conversation about the paranormal. And that turned out great. And the second part of this podcast is about what angels look like. And I began that podcast utilizing a clip from the movie Pulp Fiction. It's one of my favorite movies ever. And it's the rap that Samuel L. Jackson did from Ezekiel 25:17. Just before he executes Brett, and he's asking, well, what does Marcellus Wallace look like? And then he goes into the biblical reference, and where Ezekiel in the Bible actually does mention what angels look like. We thought it was appropriate. It was funny. I've removed that clip because for copyright reasons, I'm not sure if we can put that out in a podcast or not. So that's what that was about. That I edited that out, but it's basically what that episode was. We get into what all angels look like as per the Bible. And also, I wanted to mention it was Kristen's birthday, my gal pal and co-host for both of these shows. And in case you're wondering after you listen to this, I did get her a cake, but I didn't have it ready for the show when we went live, as we slept late that day. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say. I hope you guys enjoy this. We really enjoy the fact that you're out there listening. We appreciate it. We're thankful. We are grateful to you, listeners of the Paranormal UK Radio Network. And if you guys ever need to reach out to us for anything or want to comment directly to Kristen and I, you can email us at Bigfoot and the Bunny, not in the bunny, but and the bunny at gmail.com. Welcome to Bigfoot
and the Bunny.
This is a couple's journey into the mysterious,
the unknown, and the paranormal.
I'm your host, Chris Carr.
And I'm your host, Kristen Johnson.
Together we are Bigfoot and the Bunny. And welcome to Bigfoot and the Bunny. I'm your host, Chris Carr.
And I'm Kristen Johnson.
Happy Saturday. And before we get started with anything, I want to wish my love a very happy birthday. It is Kristen's birthday tomorrow. And I know she doesn't want to talk about it.
No.
And had we had a little earlier start to our day, I would probably have a cake here for you.
That's fine.
But that's how things worked out. So happy birthday.
Thank you, babe.
We have a great show for you today, and we're going to get right to things. Oh, yeah, the cat ball is going off. Let's set up a couple of those magical cat balls behind us to see if anything might happen. And there it is. It's going off. Now, we can maybe debunk it. It might be us rolling around under chairs, but it is interesting. Those bookcases are pretty stable, so we'll see if there's some activity. But we have a very special show. One of the folks we like in the paranormal, she is from Scotland, and she's often in our chats, and we recently heard her on another podcast and really loved her stories of the paranormal, and she went into fairies and some really cool stuff. Her name is Liz Milne. She's just joined us as we went live, so hopefully our audio is okay. We might have to do a quick check, but we're going to bring her on. Liz Milne from Scotland. Hello, Liz.
Hiya.
Hi, Liz.
Yeah, we can hear you good.
Hiya.
Great. That worked out well. Let me fix our windows here. How are you?
Aye, okay. I'm fine.
Well, it's nice to talk to you and sort of like person.
Sort of, but yeah.
You know, we've talked on Facebook and stuff before. And you recently were on a podcast that we got to hear and really enjoyed listening to your stories and telling us about your background. You're an active paranormal investigator, and I think you have something planned for tonight, correct?
Yeah, we're going to do a live tonight. Yeah. Me, my daughter, and my grandson. We're going to do a live tonight. Yeah.
Where are you doing the live from?
We're going to the old graveyard tonight. So we are.
When you say the old graveyard, what is that exactly? Is that just a nickname for it, or is it literally called the old graveyard?
No, it's called the Kirk graveyard. It's right old. It's about, I think it's the 1600s or maybe further than that. That's the one we're going to tonight. So it is tonight.
Wow.
Because we went to that other one. We went to the other one last Saturday, and it was just me and my grandson. You know. Well, before that, I went there with 3 adults and myself, and it was my son, my older son, and my 2 ladies that I know. And then we didn't catch anything. And then I went with my grandson last Saturday, and we caught talking at one of the graveyards. I think it was Spirit Kids, right enough. There was talking and was laughing. And then near the end, we walked around. I thought it was being smart, you know, because the last time we were there, but there was the live was at the wall, you know, going round the wall, and you've seen the faces. So I says, I'll put the live in this wall, Tyler. You can see the faces. So I did that, and then I turned round to the gravestones again, and then we heard the hello, you know. There was a man.
Hello. Okay. I think that's an interesting thing to hear in a cemetery, and we've had that experience too, where we heard hello, and I was, well, okay, hello, you know, spirits of the cemetery. It's kind of an interesting experience and thing to say. So when you said
then
you saw faces, where did you see the faces exactly?
You see them on the wall. There's faces on the wall.
Oh, okay.
You know? There is faces on the wall. I've seen them. The last live. It's an old stone wall. It's an old stone wall. And then after we heard hello, well, I did anyway. So did my grandson. We heard hello. After that, I heard the going right through my ear, you know. And I says to my
with your ears, this wasn't on a recorder, or was it on both the recorder and your ears?
No, it was on the live, but I don't know if people picked it up or no, because it went right in my ear.
Okay, I've watched a couple of these. Are you using like your phone and just live streaming to Facebook and
yeah.
Okay. All right, just so the other people in the audience understand what you mean when you say you were doing a live. So you were just live on site with your phone, and hello was coming through. We got a few hellos for you out there. Anne-Marie Young says, love Liz Milne. Sandy Griffith says, hi, Chris, Kristen, and Elizabeth. And our friend Chris Garcia, the psychic. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Chris.
Says, hi, everyone.
Hi.
Yeah,
hi, Chris.
Oh, you people.
No, but I heard that get in my ear, you know. And so I says to Tyler, did you hear that? That sounded like a cat hissing in my ear, son. Did you hear that? And he went, no, but I heard that hello, Granny, and it was a man. I says, I so it was. And then we were busy just gabbing and talking away, and because it didn't frighten us, you know. So we were just gabbing and talking away. And then we just slowly walked calmly out of the graveyard. So we get out, and then one of the ladies, Catherine, she takes a lot of the photos. I've got a lot of photos right now. So she takes a lot of the photos, you know. Catherine does. And Carrie Ann took photos as well, right enough. And then Catherine put up that the wall was bad or something. And I says, I says to Tyler, that wall was supposed to be bad, son. And then it was another message underneath was, it was a demon, Liz. That was a demon. You be careful. That was a demon, you know. I says, a demon? All right. So we were still stoking about. We weren't in the graveyard, but we were at the gates, you know. We walked to the gates, and but I'd done the protection on my grandson and myself. I'd done all that protection at the end. And then we were in the gates, and I'm shining the torch down. Is it doing that end, Catherine? Because if we could go to the other end, you know. She went, no, I think it was following you, but I don't exactly know where it came from. It just came from nowhere, you know. And I thought it was funny.
You got some friends out here. Debbie Wallace-Hagan says, hello. Courtney Karras. Hi, Liz Milne.
Hi,
Kimmy
Courtney.
Will. Hey, Liz.
Hi.
Mention of that.
Hi,
cat
Debbie. Hi, Kimmy.
To go off on its own. Lots of comments out here. Just wanted to throw them up real quick. So this is really fascinating. And one of the questions I was going to ask you, because you had mentioned that you go with your grandson, and I think you said is he 10?
He's 10. He's here just now, right? I know.
And a lot of people in the paranormal get concerned. And I used to take my children to cemeteries when they were younger, and we never had a real problem with it, but I guess there's always the possibility of attachments and things like that. You mentioned you did a protection on him. What does that entail, and how did you come across using that? Well,
said prayers and put my hand in his head, put my hand in my head, put my hand over at the wall, the two stone walls. It's just to say, you stay there, you know. And the Archangel Michael, I've asked for the Archangel Michael, but I did say a lot of prayers, and Archangel Michael, that was me protecting us all. So, you know, that's how I've done it anyway.
Excellent.
That's how I always do it.
So you haven't had any issues on these investigations with something coming home with you?
Well, I'm not sure about that, right enough. What was it, Eunice? That you heard the door going or something? The 3 knocks, wasn't it? And my daughter heard it on the Sunday, the next day. There was 3 knocks at the door. But you see, I couldn't hear too good at the time because my ears was quite bad, you see. So I'm in the kitchen and I come back in and my daughter says, Mum, your door banged. I went, oh, right. Well, they should have rung the bell. So I'm ready to go to the outside door. And Eunice went, no, Mum, that's your living room door. And there was 3 knocks at that living room door. My daughter and my grandson heard it. I went, 3 knocks? All right. So I went to the living room door and I just opened it and I says, well, come on in. Help you just come in there, you know. That's the kind of things I do, right enough. I do that, you know.
Wow, okay. But it doesn't sound like it was negative, maybe just a knock at the door. Emery Young notes that cat ball is having lots of fun, and it really is active.
The thing about that is we have three cat balls up there, and only one of them's going off, and there's one next to it. So
there it goes again. It seems like that shelf has been more of the active shelves, and I don't know why. Maybe there's something on that shelf that it likes.
It could be. Sure. It could be some. That could be a doorway or something, you know.
Yeah, we get a little strange activity. There's got a few unusual objects up there, and you know, we do, you know, mind that thing about attachments, and I think that there's spirits always around us, and you know, hopefully they're not negative, right? Because that's not a good experience. But
I don't have any haunted dolls. No, I don't. No, I don't have any haunted in my house. No,
the dolls
are any haunted.
Haunted only briefly, just for a short time.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed to go away. And we do think that is something that can happen. So a haunted object doesn't necessarily have to stay haunted. And I don't believe like the spirit lives in whatever object it is 24/7. I would even go as far as to say something as extreme as like the Annabelle doll
probably isn't have like a ghost stuck in it at all times, like a demon trying to hurt people, but seems to be a favorite of that otherworldly being.
All right. Well, no, I don't have any attachments in that. No, in my house, no. But I do. You know, when I do my life, see, I believe in. Well, I'll tell you the truth. I was well, I've been in a few houses that's been haunted, right enough. Because my daughter's here, she could tell you right enough. But the best one that I had was a split level house, because there was loads in there. I wouldn't have to go anywhere to do any lives or anything. That house is just enough, you know. So I'm hoping to get back into to do a live right enough, because I've seen.
What is it about the house that makes you feel that it's as haunted as it is? Does it have a history, or just a place you happen to collect a lot of data?
Well, I was trying to find out about the history of Craig's Hill, but I couldn't find anything out about Craig's Hill. It only says it was hills, so I don't know. Everything else round about, there was history, but Craig's Hill there wasn't any history. I've tried everywhere to find all about Craig's Hill, but see, this was a mining village. There's miners used to be here, you know. They used to work in the mines here, because this was, as I say, it was a mining village, you know. But they've seen shadows, loads of orbs, and there used to be photos that fell off the wall quite a lot. My man, he was living at the time. He's no here now, right enough. But he was here at the time, and I says to him, Josh, put that photo up, you know. So he would bang and make sure it was upright, and then we'd turn my back and it would fall off the wall. We used to have loads of that, photos falling off a wall. There was one time my son was sitting at the front of the fire, because we didn't have any heating at the time, you know, in the houses. It was only the fire we had, but it had the garden in front of it, and it was just sitting, getting a heat. And the next thing, the 3 photos fell, and the one in the middle was a big tiger one, and it was really thick wood. It fell on top of my son's shoulder, my oldest son, you know. So you'll never forget that, right enough. But the photos fell, things would go missing, different stuff like that. And there was another time I was in, it was no the split level house, it was another house. It was a house over here, right enough, you know, in the Adderwell. And I went to the toilet one day to wash her face, you know. And I just turned around dead slow. There was a man right behind me. I was a spirit man, right? But there was a man right behind me. And I just looked at him. He's looking at me, and I'm going, uh-huh. I got a shock at first, and I went, what? How did you get in my house, you know? And the next minute, it wasn't there for long. It just like floated away. It was like as if something was taking him away, you know? But he was more shocked than I was. Do you know what I mean? And then there was one time that there was a house in Glasgow. Me and my man were in the room, and we heard these footsteps coming down the hall, you know. So I says, that's what. There's somebody outside that door, George. You see? He went, I know, I hear that was. So I shouted, you want to come in? Do you want to come in? Come on in, you know. My man says, don't you dare tell it to come in. Don't you dare, he says. Well, it was funny times, you know, and everything. But I used to sit and talk to them. Everybody used to think I was bonkers, you know. They thought I was talking to the wall or the fridge freezer or the door, you know. No, I says, I know who I'm talking to, and it's definitely know that, you know.
It's really hard for people that aren't involved in the paranormal, had the real, true paranormal experiences that are just, you cannot debunk, no matter how hard you try or explain properly, to understand what that's like. And it's hard for them to wrap their heads around it, you know, and Like, oh, you must have just been seeing things. One thing you mentioned a little bit earlier was orbs in the woods. Were those like glowing lights or that sort of thing? Have you seen like glowing lights in the woods?
In the woods?
Yeah, I think you mentioned that around the split level house.
No, in the house. No, we've done the woods right enough. We have done the woods. We've done the psychiatric hospital. We've done the priory. We've done different things like that. But it's always me that sees things, if you know what I mean. And I can see them even before our lives even on them. Do you know what I mean? I can see them. As at the psychiatric hospital, there was a lady, like my older son and my friend Tracy. Well, they went to, I thought it was a telephone box that was bashed to bits. But it was a water pump. So they went to the water pump to see that. And then I just looked round and it was this, she was gorgeous. A beautiful, beautiful lady. And she just came from behind the tree and she walked down a wee bit. And I says, Tracy, put your live over there at that corner because there's a lady that just came out behind the tree. She'd, the long white, like the white nightgowns they used to wear. The wee long white nightgowns that they used to wear at the time. And I mean, she'd long black hair. I always remember her. Well, she'll remember me if I get back there right enough. But I always remember her. She came out from a tree. So by the time Tracy put her live over, she went away behind the tree. She would disappeared. But she stared at me, but I think it's because I seen her. Then another time at the priory, we were at the priory, we walked round. You could walk round the whole building, It's quite a big building. We walked round at the back, and there was another figure. I seen it, I know. And it was just standing at the wall. It was all a black figure. And I says, Tracy, look, there's a figure out there. I mean, it's staring at me. There's a figure, look.
Yeah.
And then she put her live, but that's on the live right enough. That one's on the live. It was, But it's funny how I always see them and other people don't, unless it's on the live. But I always see them before that.
A clairvoyant-like experience. So when you saw her initially and nobody else could see her, you're seeing her more like in a psychic way. So would you consider yourself psychic, I guess would be my question.
What was that?
Would you consider yourself psychic or clairvoyant? Like when you said you saw her, maybe nobody else saw her. You were able to see her though. Was that
I've seen a lot right enough, but no, I don't call myself anything really. Everybody says you've got a gift, Liz. I says no, I don't think I've got a gift. She went, everybody says it to me that I've got a gift, but I don't see myself as any gifts or anything, having gifts or anything like that. I just seem to see them, and I don't know why. Right, But I have seen, when I was 6, I seen real fairies. I did see real fairies, right enough. And these fairies, they're dead, they're very, very tiny, to let you explain. Very, very tiny. They're no big or anything, they're really tiny. And they came to me for a week. Now, I went and told my mother and father, I seen the fairies last night. Oh, you must have just been dreaming, they said. They wouldn't take it in that I had seen them and everything. So I says, oh, well, never mind. I'm enjoying here. I'm enjoying it. It was dead bright and it was really colourful. It was really lovely, So now, I had seen...
How tall were they? When you say they're really small?
Very, very small. Let's see now. Fairies are small, right enough. I would just explain them. I don't know if it's like your finger, maybe. As small as that.
Just a few inches or centimeters then, right?
Sorry?
Just a few inches, which is an American measurement, or centimeters in metric. So very, very tiny. Like the size of a
very tiny, but I don't know what anything about the meters or anything like that, you know.
The length of your finger.
I'm not that bright.
What did they look like? What were they wearing?
They were all wearing different coloured clothes, if I can mind it. One was in green, one was in white, one was in red, all different colours, right enough. Or like wee dresses and stuff, you know. I'll always remember, I'll never forget them. The wee wings at the back, and they were all doing zigzags on my bed and everything, you know.
So they appear to you kind of in the way we see them in art. I mean, we see a picture or a drawing of a fairy with the wings and maybe flowing clothes. That is how they appeared to you.
Well, one that we got the doorbell in, you know, the doorbell, and you can see stuff at night and that. And then I remember my son came in and he went, "Look, Mum," because I hadn't been on the phone then. I says, "What is it?" And he went, "Look." And there was one went flying past the door in a wee van. And I went, "Uh-huh." And to me, that was fairies. That looked like two fairies. Because I'll never forget, you know, they were white, right enough. But I'll never forget the fairies. That's one thing I'll never ever forget. But I always think it's they're the ones that's protecting me. That's what I think. They're protecting me when I'm doing lives or maybe going into danger or whatever, you know. Like that hissing, there's supposed to be a demon or something. But I'll know but I always think it's the fairies that's protecting me. Because there was another encounter in Craigshill. See, when I went in at first, it was pure black. I mean, don't know my house, but you know, the darkness was there. And I'll relate to when somebody says to me, dark and light, I'll relate to that because I know what they're meaning. Night and day. Well, it's no night and day, but dark and light. Because it happened to me. And I was in the kitchen and it was pure, really dark. But I was just sitting talking anyway. That's the way I do. But I had to go up the stair for something because I forgot. So I had to go up the stair, and just at the living room door there was two red. Well, I don't know if there may have been two red lights, but to me there were two red eyes. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm standing looking at it. So I went, So at first I got a shock. Then I went, So I went, well, you're not here for any party. So you're going, you know. And, you know, I don't know if I've done the right thing. Now, tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know if I've done the right thing, Chris. But I walked right through it. I did. I walked right through it. I got the shock right enough, but I walked right through the eye things. And the next, when I turned round, it disappeared. But as I say, I don't know if I've done the right thing because I don't know if it went away up the stair. I know it disappeared, but I don't know if it went up the stair, you see. But see, when I'd done that, after I'd done that, the whole place went lightness for some reason, and the darkness just disappeared. So I couldn't understand that myself, as I say, because I wasn't, I didn't know about lives or anything like that. Oh, I was doing this my wee ghost thing, as I used to say. Well, I'm going down the stairs to all the family, and I said, I'm going down to do my wee ghost thing. And all I had was a camcorder, right, and a camera. That's all I had. And you know that camera picked quite a lot of photos up. That's how I believe in cameras and photos, because to me, photos don't lie, you know. But that's what I done. Aye, that's what I used to do in Craigshill. Right. So then it went light, and I went, my God.
Are kind of hard to get, right? It seems easier, at least in our experience, to get things like EVPs, electronic voice phenomena, spirit box data than an actual picture of, you know, a ghost or a spirit. Linda Judd had a question for you. She asks, Elizabeth, when you see ghosts, have you been able to talk to them?
Oh, well, I have. I used to do that when I was down the stair, sitting at my table, and that's what I used to do. I used to sit and talk about all different stories and probably a load of rubbish, But I used to talk and talk away to them till my heart was content. And to me, they were listening, I think they were all around me listening right enough. Maybe even kids, But I used to sit and talk to them all the time. They didn't come out the first time though, for a while, but they started coming out more regular, actually. Every time I was sitting in the kitchen talking away to them, I would see a wee bit more coming out and a wee bit more, do you know what I mean? It's like shadows right enough. It was shadows right enough. And I used to sit and talk to them, I used to sit and talk to them right enough. I used to say, you my friend,
Mm-hmm. Kristen does a lot of talking to spirits in her house.
I do.
Yeah. I think that it creates a certain bond, but it's like the attention, causes them to be drawn closer. So I guess a word of advice to be careful who you talk to, right? It's
true. I could have been talking to anybody. I could have been talking to bad ones and I didn't even know.
Right. Sometimes you don't know. The only time we had a problem with attachments from investigating, or the times that we did was mostly, I think, because we gave it so much attention, because we were obsessed with some of the data we got. It just kept making us ask more questions about it that, the stuff really came home with us. that was tough to shake. But at the same time, I think everybody I think ghosts are kind of everywhere. Certainly some locations are more haunted than others. Are known for specific spirits or whatever it is, but they're around us. I think so.
Well, my daughter, she's here now, you see, and but I'll tell you what we did see was a big skeleton hand in my back door, right? And I says, because we went to the next day, and I went, what on earth is that in that door? And my daughter says, that's like a skeleton hand, Mum. I went, what? So I'd try to wash it off. Not really come off. Stayed there for a while too. A big skeleton hand that was on the back door, and everything. So, and the photos I took was unbelievable. It really was. I remember, when I got the photos developed, I was a bit disappointed because it was all just white lights. It was just white lights. There wasn't any faces or anything at first, it was just white lights. So I just put them on the table, and then a good while after that, my daughter went down the stair, and she says, Mum, because she get the shock of her life. I says, what is it? She went, look at these photos. I swear to God. And there were all the faces were coming out and everything, But the photos that I took, I don't know how to explain this. It was like way back in the day, if you know what I mean. It wasn't just 50s or 60s. I'm talking about way back further than that. Like a Robin Hood or a Maid Marian or stuff like that. That was the photos I took. It was unbelievable. I can always remember the guy, and it was in my backyard, and he had the green jacket on, and the green hats with the feather things or something. He had the red beard, pointed down, and the red, curl moustaches and the red hair. I'll never forget that. And they came out in colour and all.
Yeah.
And they came out in colour.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it,
Wow.
But do you want to talk to my daughter, Chris?
When you were younger, or something that you saw you just recognized as being very old?
No, that's when I stayed in Craigs Hill.
Okay.
I was younger then, right enough. But no,
Not
I
like
had
a child,
my family, right enough.
Okay.
I'd say a bit in my 30s or something, I had my family, and my man, God rest his soul, right enough, but he's seen shadows and everything too. It wasn't just me, right enough. My daughter, I don't know if she's seen any shadows, but she knew about, she had see wee handprints. She had that in her wall, up in her room, like wee child's handprints. And I wiped them off, and I couldn't get them off either. Wee child handprints. She's seen stuff. My son, he's seen a lot. My older son's seen a lot. My niece and nephew, they've seen a lot too. Everybody had seen something in that house. You know, it wasn't just me, as I say. Everybody did.
Sounds really
so
active.
I must admit, this was funny, right? The workman came in because he had to fix the boiler. So I says, oh, well, see, the boiler's away at the top of the stairs, you know, because this little level house have got a lot of stairs. And he went, away up. I fixed the boiler right enough. But, you know, I've never seen anybody come running down these stairs as fast as in all my life. And I says to him, what's wrong? I says, you run down these stairs. He went, aye. How can you stay in this house? How can you stay in this house? He says. I says, what? I says, it's a house. And he went, I don't know how you can stay here. He says, because there was a woman come up my ear and whispered in my ear. Now, where the hell did that come from? He says, he got to shock his life, and that was a work guy, you know. I says, maybe that's Margaret, you know. And he looked at me as though I was stupid, you know. But I loved that house. I loved that house.
When did you first notice spirits and paranormal things? Did you have experiences as a child? That's where I was going before.
The very first house I got in Glasgow.
What happened?
I used to go to my mother's with my two children, and my neighbour's daughter used to watch my house and her boyfriend, and they watched my house for me. I remember Lorraine her name was, and she came. So they watched it for a while, but here one day she came running down the road, and I says, and her face was chalk white, and I says, what's wrong? She went, there was wind going down your hall. I couldn't get out that window quick enough. I wouldn't go out in your hall. I came out the window. I says, what? So I went, right, that's fine. So I went to the door, and it was only a Yale lock, you know, just a Yale lock. I put the key in the door, couldn't even open it. It took 2 hours before I get in that house. So I went into my neighbour, well, my friend, Sandra, and I says to Sandra, I can't get that door to open. What's wrong? She went, Liz, your house is haunted. I hate to tell you that, but your house is haunted. You've got ghosts in your house. Oh, I says, have I? Because she had one in her house. It was a child. If she put the light off, the child would cry. But she put the light on, there wasn't anything. Aye. So I don't know where it all came from, right enough. I couldn't tell. I really don't know. All of a sudden, this is all happening, you know. I'm saying, how's this all happening to me? I don't understand this. There was a man there, because I seen a man right enough. And the photos fell off the wall at that time as well. That was the time I was telling you, but me and my man was in the room. And when I says, when we heard the footsteps coming in, and I'm shouting to just come in here, see who you were, you know. But that was the first house. The second house was up the road. We got that one. And that was in Kempsthorne. I remember one time, to cut a story short, well, it was in that house that my son, the photo fell on top of his shoulder, right? But I remember one time, we went to my friend's. So I says, I had a strange feeling. I need to get back to my house. So I went back, but my son was in the house. My nephew was supposed to be watching him, but anyway, never mind. So he was lying on the couch, and I says to him, So I says, if you're hungry, come on, we'll get something to eat. So we went into the kitchen. Now, there used to be bolts outside the doors. I don't know why, what the reason was for that. I really don't know. But anyway, we went into the kitchen. It was just me and him in the house. We went in the kitchen. I just shut the kitchen door. We had something to eat. I went to the door and I couldn't get the door opened. We were locked in the kitchen. We're actually locked in that kitchen. I says, what the hell's going on here? You know, excuse me, right enough. I was going to be a bit thingy, but I said, what's the matter with this door? Couldn't get the door opened. No. We were stuck in the kitchen for a wee while. I says, this is no use. Well, I ended up smashing the window. I smashed the window. We had a wee porthole window. I smashed that and took the glass out, and I put my son through the window because he was the only one. He could get through the window. I put him through the window, so he opens the door, but it was quite dark, so he was a wee bit frightened. But anyway, he opens the door. That was my older son, and then he went in, and then I said to myself, "Charles, open the door, son. I'm stuck in this kitchen." And he went, "Hold on, Mum," because he had to get a chair, you see. So I said, "What you want a chair for?" He says, "Just hold on, Mum." So he gets up. I had to unbolt the door. The door was bolted on the outside. I went, "What?" It was only me and him. It was in the house. And the door was bolted on the outside. I could not believe it. You know? Well, he's there and all. He'll maybe come on sometime and tell you, Chris. Anyway, so I couldn't believe it. And then the 40s fell in that house as well. Always the 40s fell. Our stuff went missing. So, as I said, then we moved to there and we went to the Craigshill house. And in the Craigshill house, that's when I seen things. That's when I started seeing things. I don't know if it was leading up to that right enough, you know, with all the things that was happening, you see. Just it started off just like things would just go missing, or the 40s fell off the wall, footsteps and all that kind of stuff. It was just things like that. That was in Glasgow. But it wasn't. I go to Craigshill, the big split level house. That's when I seen a lot of things. I seen an awful lot of things. I even, me and my friend were sitting in the kitchen, and it was a man that was at the gate, you know, the back gate. So I went away. June says, "There's a man at the gate." She even seen him and all. So I went away out. The man wasn't there. He was disappeared. I says, "Jane, where did that man go?" Because he couldn't have. It was just like he disappeared. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Jane went, "What?" Because you would have seen him, Liz. I went, "I know." Disappeared.
Wow.
And funny enough, it was always men I seen. I never really seen women. It was always men, you know. So
Interesting.
I always seen that the one women lighting up at the psychiatric hospital, but it was always men, right enough, you know. So.
Well, that's really interesting. So you had those experiences, and when did you start wanting to record them? Was it things like TV shows or books you read that inspired you to become more of a paranormal investigator?
I used to watch Most Haunted. I watched Most Haunted a lot with Vet Fielding, and you know. So I watched Most Haunted, and then I says, I'm going to put my. So one time, that's what I says. I set my camcorder up, and I just done my own ghost thing. You know, I never told anybody. It was only my family, my friends that knew, but I never told anybody, like outside, you know. Like strangers, never told anybody, because I thought they're going to think I'm stupid, you know. So I done my own, as I say, I done my own ghost thing in my own house, but it was just the camcorder. Camcorder picked a few things up as well, because we had a lot of orbs, but the orbs only came from one side of the wall, just the one side. No, round the wall, just to one side of the wall, where the glass door was. That's where the orbs came from. I remember it was me, my man, and my friend Jean. We were in the kitchen, we got talking away. So Jean went up the stair to get something, and Nor followed her. she would have, because she didn't like that, right enough. When my man went up the stair, and the orb followed him, and these orbs were following him, you know. And then there was one time I seen it was a thing that came up, and it came down the wall. It was like a man sitting in a chair or something. A man sitting in a chair, you know. I says, what in the earth's this? And it all came down.
It's not an orb.
Just different things like that, right enough, you know. But that house was the best house. That split level house, believe me, if I was to stay alive in that house, if I could stay in that house for a week at least, I swear to God, I would catch a lot of things, you know. And I would take photos of the back again, what I used to do in the backyard. I swear to God, loads, and I'm not joking. Because I've got my new camera now, so I'm ready and rolling to take all my photos again, you know.
I think that's great, and I love that you're out there.
But, I loved it.
Mm-hmm. What would you say is your favorite piece of equipment?
When I first, my camera.
Your camera? Now, when you say camera,
honestly, my camera. The EVP is good, right enough. I've got an EVP.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've got an EVP machine. That's good, right enough to talk to them. But I wished I had that. The EVP, I wished I had when I was talking to them at the time, because I would have probably picked up a lot, you know. But because you can talk to them, but they wouldn't know they would know what you're talking about. But I couldn't, you know. All they could do is shake their heads or something, because they can't really talk to you back. You know what I mean? So they're in another place, you know. So, but I wished I had the VP machine then, but I didn't know anything about that right enough at the time, you know. I just done my ghost thing, and I was quite happy, you know. So
when you say EVP machine, are you talking about a digital recorder, or is it another kind
of digital recorder, EVP?
Okay, no, that's fine. I mean, there's a lot of stuff when you go on some of the ghost type websites. You know, I sometimes miss some of the technology.
See, I've not got a lot of equipment. No, I've got my camera. Yes, I've got my camcorder. Yes, I've got the ball thing. Yes. I got that off of Jesse Stewart, the ball, and there's a light thing and there's something else. But I use the ball a lot. And I've got the EPP machine. And I think that's all I really need. I don't need a lot of stuff. As long as I've got my camera, I'm happy.
That's cool.
An EVP machine.
I should have talked to you a little bit beforehand about sharing some pictures we could have put up that you liked, and so I apologize for that. We had a very hectic week this week, and I know you say that a lot, but it's kind of busy. There's our ball again.
That's the second one.
Sporadically going off.
There's one next to it. That one, the other one was the one going off first.
Oh yeah, there's two next to each other.
Right next to each other. So
there's actually a couple on the other shells as well. So it's always interesting to see if any phenomena happens. I don't know if you remember, Liz. I know you've seen a lot of our shows, but there was a time for like a month our camera would move on its own, and we had a hard time debunking that because the camera is on a camera stand. It's not connected to this table or anything. You know, I can bang the table, which sets the cat ball off on the table, but not on the bookshelf. But the camera stays steady because it's on a tripod outside of it. So
you don't think it's because you've got these things, but what is it you've got there? Is it dolls? Did you say you've got dolls or something?
Oh, Ouija board. There's a lot of stuff up there.
I see.
Yeah, there's different things. Yeah,
it's
a very interesting book. Well.
Would you want to talk to my daughter, and she'll tell you a few things? Have you got time?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we have time. Absolutely. You can put your daughter on.
Susie wants to say, just for a minute, Eunice. Right? Oh, you might
Just
talk to. Right, here's my grandson. My daughter doesn't want to. So I
Oh,
don't know
sure.
which
Have him
one
come on
to
and
do
say
the
hi. We would like that.
So that was weird because it chose the other one this time.
I see that. I see that.
Hi.
I can...
Hi.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm Tyler. I'm doing good.
Nice to meet you, Tyler. Do you have
soon
fun
I'm gonna
going? Do you have fun
soon
going out looking for ghosts?
I'm gonna tell you what I've been seeing in my room and what I've been hearing.
Oh,
Okay.
There's
okay.
quite a lot. So basically, what I've been hearing in my room is basically so I would wake up in the middle of the night, like weird feeling in my stomach, and I would hear whispering from like really at the edge of my bed. I would get this horrible feeling, and I just did not want to like get out of bed or anything. So then, what I would do is I would just try to go back to sleep. So then I went to sleep and I woke up again, this time with scratches on the door.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
And I don't know, I think because I've got 3 cats and I don't know if it was the cats because the door was shut.
Mhm.
And then something like a flashing light from outside of my window started flashing on and off.
oh boy.
And
Wow. That sounds a little spooky.
I looked out and there was nothing there. So then what I was doing is I just went back to sleep again. I woke up about 3 in the morning and I was going to the bathroom. I was hearing like, oh, I heard creaks on the door. Like the phone fell there. So then what I done is I quickly went in the bathroom, I locked the door. So then I done that and I came back out and in the hall there was something at the end. It was like a big, tall kind of man standing there.
Oh.
So then I went back in the room quickly, shut the door quietly, and then I jump into bed, and then I went to sleep. And then the next night, I was hearing scratches on the door again.
And you don't think it was
So I
your,
thought it's probably just, yeah, I thought it was probably just the cats, like maybe again. But then I heard whispering coming from like right at the edge of the bed, but it was like a man and a woman, and they were talking to each other.
Oh, okay. That's what I was going to ask you, if they
And
were talking to you or talking to each other. So what were they saying? Do you
yeah, they were
remember
talking
any
to each.
of what they said?
Well, I think they were in a different language. All I heard was like mumbling, like whispering and stuff. It was complicating, really strange. Like
yeah.
I really thought it was all in my head, or maybe it was some kind of dreamer or something I was in. So then I just went back to sleep like I'd done before, and then I woke up with this hefty feeling that I was getting watched. And at the door, I would see shadows at the door, like big tall
Mm-hmm.
figures.
Little?
And the big figures, they would just stand there. And I didn't know if it was real or fake. I thought it was maybe just my mind, but it wasn't.
Oh, we believe you.
So they were just watching me. So then I went back to bed, and then I woke up in the morning, and I woke up, and then I went in the living room, and then I'd seen like the cats. My cats were like they've seen a ghost.
They
So
look
they did.
frightened.
They look scared, like they had seen something while I was gone. And
I think you're very brave for being able to go back to bed after seeing some of these things and hearing the whispering. If that happened to me
yeah,
last night, I think I don't think it was
nobody believed me, apart from my gran.
Oh, we believe you.
We believe you.
We had a lot of childhood experiences ourselves, and they were spooky, sometimes scary, and sometimes not as scary. But that's very interesting, and especially the conversation.
What's that, Gran?
That's a little spooky.
They were talking to each other.
Yes.
Bye. I think my gran wants to say something.
Thank you so much. It was
nice to talk to you, Tyler. Thank you.
Sorry, Chris.
Don't be sorry. It was wonderful.
Sorry.
I liked his insight and his experiences. I think childhood is a certain portal of experience. Like I know Kristen and I had a lot of childhood experiences, and as you did, as a lot of our guests have, it's one of the things that I think makes people want to investigate or learn about as adults, because some of these experiences happened, or that are hard to explain. And I don't know if it's that, or if there's some other connection. Perhaps a person is more connected to, say, the other side, and it shows up in childhood, and that's why people are interested as adults in the same way.
He's a bit like myself. He's got the gift, like myself. So, well, I've not got. I don't say I have gifts, but my grandson has got the gift. He has got the gift, right enough, But we'll have to go shortly because we're going to have to do our live. Sorry.
that is okay.
Great.
My daughter keeps going at me to. So I've got to do a live. You see,
we've enjoyed talking to you, Liz.
Absolutely.
It's really fun to do, and we appreciate you coming on and watching our shows. And I know you watch a lot of our friend shows out there too. We saw obviously Chris Garcia out there, and as well as
the Wizards
Table is watching us on Twitch.
Ken, I love Ken. He's
Ken Allen, we love him. He's one of our favorite people out there, and Amber Young. So we had a really good time. We really appreciate you coming on and talking and sharing your experiences with us. Real quick, for people who don't know that are in the audience, I know quite a few people on today in our chat, where should they go and see your live? So is your Facebook the best place?
Facebook. It's always a Facebook. Tracy and Agnes's group. Tracy and Agnes's group, that's where I put my live on. Tracy and Agnes's group.
Okay.
So it's
that is excellent, and lots of thank yous out there, and Tim Smith and
Anne-Marie
Melissa
Young.
Hui, Anne-Marie Young.
Hello, Anne-Marie.
Oh yes,
we love Anne-Marie.
she's
brilliant. She is brilliant. Oh, she is. She came on to Chris's chat room and she was talking about it. She was really good, Was but I'll give a shout out to Debbie, Kimmy, Chris, Courtney, everybody in the chat room. I can't remember all the names, but everybody in the chat room, I'll give a shout out to. They're really brilliant. They're fantastic,
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a great community out there, and
yes,
a lot of it is centered around Facebook, and now we're seeing Twitch and YouTube starting to come up. And
Twitch is
it's wonderful. People get to communicate and share their experiences, and we get the pleasure of talking to a lot of amazing people, which is, we're thankful for.
Yes,
so we thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll be looking for your live tonight on Facebook. People can look for Liz Milne, and I believe you are Liz, Liz, Milne.
Liz, Liz, Milne. That's Liz Milne.
Yes, very good. So this will also become like an audio podcast. So you need to spell things out for people sometimes because they can't see us, talking about it. And That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank
and
you
it was
again.
wonderful to talk to Tyler as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
We'll let you go. We're probably going to have a fairly short show today because we're going to celebrate Kristen's birthday. Happy
right.
birthday to you. Hey, she's only 29. Liz.
Again.
Happy birthday, Kirsten. Happy
you,
birthday.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much.
A few thingies in your messenger. Maybe a few gifts.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Happy birthday
Thank you.
ones.
Oh, we love them. Thank you. Yes.
And I share all your stuff as much as I can as well. Everybody's,
Yeah, we
I do that
appreciate
as
that.
well.
We saw there were
I know,
people
I'm
out
just
there
coming.
today. Thank you. All right.
I better go.
All right.
Don't get annoyed with me.
Thanks.
Have fun tonight.
Yeah, have a
will
great
do.
time.
Okay.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Thank you,
Thank
Liz.
you.
And now for part 2 of this podcast for the Paranormal UK Radio Network. This show goes back to St. Patrick's Day. And we began the show, as I mentioned in the front, with a clip from one of my favorite movies, Pulp Fiction. And it is Samuel L. Jackson's rap with Ezekiel 25:17, which goes, "The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he, in the name of charity and goodwill, shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness. For he is truly his brother's keeper and finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee." And he says some other stuff too, and it's pretty funny. And I love that movie. Anyways, without further ado, here is part 2.
Yeah, say what one more goddamn time. That's right, Brent. We love Samuel Jackson, and that is probably my favorite movie ever. And we included it, although I forgot how rough the beginning was.
Yeah,
I haven't listened to that in a while. Yeah, we're going to talk about angels. And that was a Samuel L. Jackson quoting Ezekiel, which has some very interesting things to say about angels. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get into all that in a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Kristen, you're still working on getting some of those pages up.
I am.
That computer, the hamster wheel is just flying. And good evening, Catherine, and everybody out there is watching. This is the Dark Horse Paranormal Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carr.
And I'm Kristen Johnson.
And we are glad to be here. Happy St. Patrick's Day. If you celebrate that and you got a little Irish in you, everybody's Irish on St. Patty's, right?
Yeah, they are.
They are. But there's some bad stuff about St. Patrick's too, right?
There is.
About the snakes, sort of like a metaphor for pagans. And because there are no snakes in Ireland. You know, you guys probably know this, but hasn't been snakes in Ireland. And there weren't snakes in Ireland. So it wasn't snakes he was driving out.
I'm freaking moving there. I don't like snakes.
And so it wasn't snakes, it was pagans. And we kind of like we feel for the pagan people. So we're a bit pagan ourselves.
Spirit.
So I don't know what to think about that. I mean, it's basically like a drinking holiday kind of thing, right? Kind of like Fat Tuesday. One of those deals, get your green beer, bring your own green beer, BYOGB.
All right.
Whatever green substances you might be coming across that you want to share and watch the Dark Horse Paranormal Podcast are more than welcome. Hello, Joanne. And hey, Courtney. What's going on?
Hi, Courtney.
Glad to see you guys. I think Ireland. I think about U2 a lot. Is U2 still a thing? Like, they were so big at one time. U2, Bono with his glorious mullet. It was awesome. U2 were like huge. I remember going to see U2 in like the 80s. I'm going to date myself here. And I'd only gone to like metal shows. I've seen Iron Maiden and Dio and Ozzy and Black Sabbath and bands like that. And they never served alcohol at these shows. And everybody kind of wore the same uniform, if you will, right? You had the black T-shirt. It's a little like some ghost hunting shows, right? So they said like, band names on them and in jeans. And, there was no alcohol allowed in the facility and all that stuff. And I go to see you too because I like them as well. And everybody's like dressed differently. They all got like nice button-down shirts, and the women are dressed really, really nice, and everybody seems very conservative, and they're serving beer and wine and stuff like that in the local, stadium type place. And as soon as Bono hit the stage with that mullet, and they had the fly glasses going, everybody went apeshit. Like, it was just crazy. Women were ripping their clothes off, and guys were crying. They were like, there was a guy crying next to me, just bawling. Like, oh, Bono! I couldn't even believe it. I couldn't wrap my head around it. It was crazy, but it was a really good show, and they were total rock stars. And they were awesome. But people don't talk about them that much anymore. And I don't know, kind of been on the down, I guess. I see Kaz Clark out there and Joshua Dixon.
Hi, Kaz.
Anne-Marie Young.
Hello,
hey, folks.
Anne-Marie.
Happy St. Patty's Day to you. Happy St. Patty's. Where's me go?
Yeah, this is me today because just bear with me. I've got a little.
You want to talk about what happened, Kristen?
No. All I'm going to say is I have a little food poisoning, and that's all I'm going with. And don't.
Can I give a couple of hints? Just a hint about like how this might have come about. Like,
don't.
We might have been getting our.
I got hungry.
We were hungry. Getting ready to go to bed and kind of starving, as they say out here in New England, starving. And we made some mashed potatoes. That may or may not have been like.
They weren't good. Okay.
Really, really old. Like the kind that you get you keep in your refrigerator. And I can already cook for you. You just got to microwave them.
Bob Evans or something like that.
Bob Evans, yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, that.
F you, Bob Evans.
Well, F you for having them in there for about 7 months.
I don't know why I didn't throw them out.
God
I hope they weren't that old, but they're a little old.
I had a really bad day.
They've been in there. Yeah.
So we're just going to go with that.
Yeah. I'm not feeling that great. I'm kind of recovered. It hit me a little bit, but not too bad. I don't know.
It was awful.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Poisoning.
With like some kind of soup over it or something.
Oh.
Like 2:00 in the morning.
You need me to get up. Please don't. Thank you, Courtney.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah, fantastic. So so that's where we're at with that. But we wanted to talk about this angel thing. What do you guys think angels look like? I mean, we see all these different depictions. I'm sure you're probably familiar with like Ezekiel's wheel, from watching Ancient Aliens and shows like that. And there's some very interesting things in the Bible about the way they describe these orders of angels. According to, oh my God, I just drew a mad Dionysus, the Areopagite. Areopagite. That's what it is. Areopagite. So there were 9 orders. See, I knew I'd screw that up, right?
Yeah.
I was even saying it before the show. I was like, I'm going to screw this word up. And of course, as soon as I go to think of blank, deer in headlights, gone. It said there were 9 orders of these angels, which represented dominions, cherubim, seraphim, principalities, thrones, archangels, virtues, powers. Like, what is all this stuff, right? Some of them seem to be human-like and some not so human-like. We're calling this Angel Week because we have Susan Walters is coming on our show on Saturday for Bigfoot and the Bunny. And she paints angels.
Yes.
And does readings and stuff. And she's a very interesting woman. That's going to be a good show. But getting back to like Ezekiel's wheel. Let me see here. I'll read a little bit from Ezekiel 10, if you will. The sound of the wings of the cherubim could be heard as far away as the outer court, like the voice of God Almighty when he speaks. When the Lord commanded the man in linen, take fire from among the wheels, from among the cherubim. The men went in and stood beside a wheel. Then one of the cherubim reached out his hand into the fire that was among them, and he took some of it and put it in his hands put it in the hands of the man in linen, who took it and went out. Under the wings of the cherubim could be seen what looked like hands of a man. I looked and I saw beside the cherubim 4 wheels, one wheel besides each of the cherubim. The wheels sparkled like chrysolite. And I'll show you guys what that looks like. It looks like almost like jade, but prettier. It's like a crystal.
It's green, light green. It's very pretty.
As for their appearance, 4 of them looked alike, each with a wheel intersecting a wheel. As they moved, they would go in any one of the 4 directions the cherubim faced. The wheels did not turn about as the cherubim went. The cherubim went in whatever direction the head faced without turning as they went. Their entire bodies, including their backs, their hands, their wings, were completely full of eyes, as were their 4 wheels. I heard the wheels being called the whirling wheels. Each of the cherubim had 4 faces. One face was that of a cherub, the second, the face of a man, the third, the face of a lion, the fourth, the face of an eagle. Then the cherubim rose forward. They were the living creatures I had seen by the Kabar River. When the cherubim moved, the wheels beside them moved. And when the cherubim spread their wings to rise from the ground, the wheels did not leave their side. When the cherubim stood still, they also stood still. And when the cherubim rose, they rose with them, because the spirit of the living creatures was within them. Okay, so what does that kind of mean? If you go a little further into it, it mentions that they each have 4 faces and 4 wings. They were quite winged creatures. They don't sound like the beautiful winged creatures that you're used to seeing, these, like, you know, gorgeous people with wings coming in going, hey, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
All right, they sound a little bit different. There's some artistic renditions out there, and I would like to share some with you.
From the Bible itself, the book of Ezekiel.
Yes.
But they're messed up. And these were the angels, like, only mentioned for years, right?
Right.
They didn't become beautiful winged people or creatures, or they weren't like that for I don't know what the book was. I forgot.
I mean, that's one artistic rendition there.
Yeah, they have 4. Is that the one 4 heads? Yeah.
I think that might be actually the seraphim. There's 6 wings.
That's 6 wings.
Tell.
Yeah,
we're kind of getting into that. And they have even more wings, but you can see the eyes, you know, on there, and that's pretty interesting. And like, how creepy is that? And you see like bull type hoofs coming out the bottom.
They have 4 faces. They have a regular human's face. They have an ox face. Is it a lion's face? And a eagle's face.
Eagle.
They have 4 faces.
Let me share another picture. Unfortunately, this isn't terribly easy to do.
It's really creepy. We believe in angels as well, though.
We do. I do. And
because Josh Dixon, we were going to explain that.
I want to explain sort of what our take might be on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's another one. This one's pretty trippy. All right. And you can see the wheel, and you see the eyes and the wings. I mean, who really knows, right? I mean, are they being literal? Are they being symbolic? Is it eyes of God on everything, which really speaks to consciousness itself?
Mm-hmm. Right. That's where we're going with this.
Barbara says she's not familiar with Ezekiel's wheel. Okay, well, yeah, I just read a little bit from that. Yeah, not baby-faced and chubby. Exactly. And I started reading this book, and part of the drive behind wanting to do the show was I've only read a little bit of it, and it's already quite enlightening. And this is called The Physics of Angels, and it's by Rupert Sheldrake and Matthew Fox. And Rupert is a biologist, scientist, anti-materialist science, meaning he doesn't always go with the standard norm, of science, and pushes things. And he does a lot of consciousness studies. Matthew Fox is a open-minded theologian. So it's an interesting book where they go back and forth, and they talk about things like panpsychism, which is something we talk about on the show a lot. And that's like, the idea that consciousness can pervade all sorts of matter, that things like trees are actually conscious. And we've talked a lot about how the trees can recognize their offspring. They can use the mycelium, which is the mushroom base that lives under the, lawns and stuff, to send signals and nutrients to other trees or block off certain trees through their roots. They are plants are definitely aware of people.
Yes, they are.
And which is interesting, right? And everybody's heard the thing of like, play classical music or talk nicely to your plants and it'll grow better. And
It's true.
And it's true. And they do. And if you're mean to the plants or yell at them, they don't do as well. They don't have ears, but they're aware of your intentions on some level, right? Which is it's kind of mysterious and it's things we don't think about all the time. So that thing is, they're definitely conscious. They know what's going on. Not that they are like a human, like you or I, and they're like, hi, Chris, thank you for walking by me. Where's Kristen today? They're not doing that.
She's throwing up.
Oh, she ate some bad potatoes. And yeah, no, they don't do that, but they have some kind of conscious reality, kind of like the cats. And, if you have pets, we have a couple of pets, cats. We both have cats, including this guy who is definitely conscious.
Yeah.
Now that cat there, his name is King, and my daughter painted this for me because King thinks he's human. And I had a little psychic impression from King once, and I told her about it, and she painted that. He put his paw on my arm, and I just had this like crazy instant flash in my head of him like hanging out in his bedroom and opening his little dresser and getting ready for bed, and he was all dressed up. And as you can see, she took that to heart, and yeah, there he is. He's a real boy.
But you got to think about that.
But he's definitely conscious, right? I mean, he lives his cat life. He sleeps and has cat dreams, and all that kind of stuff. So it's a real thing. We think that this idea of panpsychism, which is that matter, any kind of matter, can really hold a consciousness, is kind of a good explanation for things like haunted objects and that sort of thing. But then we start to talk about things like angels and demons and these kind of paranormal subjects, and you say, well, they have these kind of superpowers, if you will. They seem to have a greater consciousness, right? Something beyond what the human experiences. And I would think humans have a tendency to think like this is the be all end all of what consciousness can be, but there's definitely, the ability to have something greater than our own, to see more, to have more abilities. I believe that. And I kind of think that's where angels fall into play, or even demons, like the truly demonic things that happen out there. These are beings that are just kind of bigger than humans. They can do more. They have more abilities just inherent in them. And there's so many things we don't really understand in science, like dark matter and dark energy. It makes up something like 96% of the universe is what scientists think today. But yet we have no clue what it is. So if that's true, like, could consciousness be part of that or slip into portions of it? We just don't perceive it. Our senses are somewhat limited, having, generally the 5 physical senses. If you look at your spouse, your lover, and you don't really see like this bag of blood with organs and arteries and things and gizzards and stuff, right? You see this kind of beauty because that's what our brains put together, right? I don't look at Kristen like she's a bag of bones, right? It is. I think everybody kind of experiences that, but when you think about it logically, there's obviously more there. So you can't necessarily trust everything you see. So we don't see dark matter that flows right through us physically, goes through the earth. They don't know what it is. They can just kind of measure it in some ways, So I think there's a lot left to learn about beings that historically through the ages have been called angels.
We don't know what it is, and I love when Neil deGrasse Tyson says we should just call it Steve, because we don't know what dark matter is.
We really don't have a clue. They don't have a clue, but we know it's there.
Yeah,
and we know like they have storms, and it'll go right through the planet, right through people. You'd never notice it. You never see it.
I did not know this. Please put this on the screen. Complete Joshua Dixon.
Is it this one?
Completely agree today. Yep.
Yes. Saint Day of Cats.
Well, I gotta go home.
There you go. Happy cats,
Gotta go.
Happy Cats Day. You might as well have
kitties.
that. Everybody, really. Wow. All right. You stuck me there.
Christopher.
Christopher. That.
Playing with the cat.
Stop playing with the cat. Put the cat picture down. But we, anyways, want to get into that panpsychism thing, this idea that consciousness can be other things. What do you guys think? When you think of angels, we do tend to think of the stereotypical angels. I learned from reading that book that, for instance, when material science became very popular in the Baroque period, that's when we started to see angels changing in art. Like in medieval days, they were always like these beautiful paintings and people and that kind of thing. And then when we moved along and science kind of replaced a lot of where God or, spiritualism in general took place, there wasn't enough room for angels, and they became these cute-faced, the cherubs, not the cherubim, but the cherubs that you see. The little babies with the wings and a cute, that kind of thing. That's where that actually came from. So that's fascinating. So what do you guys think? What is on your minds as far as angels? And a lot of people say they see angels. In fact, I forget what the percentage is, but it's quite high. People have some kind of experience they relate to having with angels. Kaz says, Hebrews 7:3, without father, without mother, without descent, having neither a beginning of days nor end of life. So angels don't have a mother or father nor a genealogy, but made unto the Son of God, that are made in a laboratory. Hebrew 7:16 says, who is made not after the law of carnal commandment. Wow, carnal commandment, I kind of think that's interesting.
Yeah.
Not made through the nature's rules of sexual reproduction, but after the power of endless life, but rather they made after the power of genetic engineering. And endless life equals immortality. Oh, that is fascinating.
Wow.
I was not familiar with that quote. So thank you, Kaz. Like that. Without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life. Wow. Very good. Ken Allen says, hey, buddy. How you doing, Ken?
Allen.
When materials, I will see you guys in Rhode Island soon. I'll be up there for May 30th. Oh, June 3rd. Yay. I'm doing an investigation, a very well-known place. I'll let you guys know privately. Love you guys. We love you too. Good to hear. Good to hear.
Love you too, Ken.
Awesome. Look forward to it. Barbara says the beautifully human-like angels with wings are more comfortable to visualize.
Yes.
Well, yeah, they are. They are definitely more comfortable. I think it's the seraphim that in the biblical times or writings in the Old Testament, or no, it must be New Testament, right? Because there are no angels with wings in the Old Testament. Have 6 wings. And it's a curious thing. I find it curious that winged creatures, hybrid-like creatures,
yes,
have always been kind of a thing through history. I'm going to share a few more pictures. Let me see here. Things we like. I'll show you real quick. This is the chrysolite that I mentioned before. Look at Ezekiel. That's what that looks like. Kind of like emerald. It's pretty. Get up here. Screen. Oh, okay. Let's go to this one. This is Assyrian.
So this is 4,000, 6,000. So it'd be 4,000 years before.
Right.
They have 4 wings.
Way predates the Bible. And there you go. You see there are definitely 2 sets of wings on this creature. It has an eagle-like head. I don't know if it's a hawk or what particular bird, but you get the idea. Got the little tote bag that Graham Hancock likes to talk about so much.
This is a stash bag. That's what they think.
Stash bag.
I think it's a bucket, but
supposedly filled with hallucinogens to have this experience. Well, that is definitely a possibility. I don't know. It's probably how spiritual connections were made in the past. I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Nope, not at all.
But very interesting figure. You notice his legs are even interesting there. It almost looks robotic or like a Terminator.
Yeah, we can't figure that out.
4 wings.
the bottom, like his calf, and it's always drawn like that. It's carved.
We saw this in other art styles as well when we were looking at stuff up. And yeah, it's definitely fascinating. Take that out of there. So, I mean, is that an angel? Is that where angels, the idea of angels came from these old stories?
Right, passed down, and they took them and just kept going with it from ages and ages, millennium, whatever.
Okay, Barbara says, I've always thought they appeared to humans. They took a form that would not scare us to death. And this is a very good point, because in the Bible, whenever the angels appear, they always say things like, fear not, have no fear, don't be afraid. Mm-hmm. Like their whole sentence is prefaced with that. And it's like they have to tell people not to be afraid of them, maybe because their appearance is so shocking. You know, I mean, they're looking at an intelligent life form that's apparently supernatural, right? Maybe looks like wheels with eyeballs. So no, that's a very good point.
Well, how about the virtues? The virtues are the ones that got me. The virtues are the ones who they don't have a body, you can't see them. They have no physical body. They have control of the elements. They are referred to the the shiny ones. They're referred as the shiny ones.
The shiny ones, that's right. That's right.
And they appear as sparks of light.
Yes.
The other angels would tell them to perform miracles to the deserving ones. So I find that one a little fascinating, because sometimes people say, like Joshua Dixon right now is saying something, he swears he saw something hovering above him in a car accident when he...
Oh, I'll bring it up on the screen in a second. Yeah. But to the virtues, shaped like sparks of light, virtues are in charge of maintaining the natural world. They inspire living things in areas such as science, or so says Google. They take orders from angels above them and convert them into miracles for the deserving, which is the deserving can sometimes be a little bit of a disturbing point biblically, because it's, if you're not following the rules, you're out of it. And I don't always love that, But let me find out. Okay, Joshua says, I've never seen an angel, but I've felt their presence many times. After my last car accident, where I was almost killed, I thought I saw one hovering over me with my brother who had just passed. I was in and out of consciousness, and I kept hearing, wake up. Interesting. That's super interesting, especially the wake up part. It's almost like a clairaudient type experience. So somebody telling you, though, if there was probably a recorder in the room, it wouldn't capture it, but you heard it clear as day. Wake up, wake up. And that could have very well been an angel, Joshua. No question on that. That's definitely a possibility, especially that it was there with your brother.
Yes.
So
very sorry to hear that.
Yeah, car accidents can be scary. Absolutely. I've had a couple bad experiences too, but that's very interesting.
Sorry.
Let's see. Ken says, from my understanding, most of the time they say, fear you not, or be ye not afraid, because they're fixing to do something horrendous. You mean like kill thousands of people, or or just heal the blind, or something like that? And you look at the book of Tobit, which I think has been removed from Bible canonizations now, but that one features Raphael, and in it he is disguised as a mere mortal, a stranger who goes on a journey with Tobit's son, eventually healing Tobit's blindness with fish guts. Yeah. Kind of interesting story about Raphael, but he appears just like a normal human, goes on this journey with his son and gets him married, and there's a whole thing there, and eventually banishes Asmodeus, supposedly using this fish that tried to eat Tobit's son, the guts of it. It was a very magical practice, Ken, actually. The way that it's laid out, it's clearly, like it's very occult. There you go. He's a normal human, no wings, no nothing, and doesn't reveal himself to the end to be Raphael. Barbara says, in the book of Enoch, angels were placed as godlike rulers over the continents. The powers made them corrupt. That's right. Book Enoch also, I think, actually, came from like Dead Sea Scrolls. I forget, or if it was just removed and canonized.
Yeah.
And Enoch is good, and Raphael is in that as well. All the archangels are in that, and they do banish demons. Joshua says maybe angels are a state of consciousness. Well, that's kind of where I'm going with things. We think that these are like a bigger consciousness than our own. So we're kind of asking the audience like to think about like what that would be like. What does that mean? A bigger consciousness, like having more senses, having superhuman like abilities, being a creature that is just has a whole lot more potential than a human, and perhaps is responsible for the way civilizations have shaped themselves through time, and in positive ways and perhaps negative ways, and the way what is thought of as a demon. I mean, it's not beyond me to say that these things are potentially one and the same. I mean, even in the Bible, they talk about the fallen angels, but they're the same creatures, right? And you got to think about that, right? So where does demons come from? Yeah, let me just bat my microphone around. What is it? A lot of people compare this to alien abduction phenomena.
Yes.
And we've had great conversations with like Nathaniel Gillis about what these demons might be and where they might be. This kind of larger consciousness alien thing, or something that appears like an alien to us, but has been with us all along. Ken says, according to the Quran, angels are made of light, man is made of clay, the jinn are made of smokeless fire. That's right, the smokeless fire with the jinn. Yeah, interesting, right? We're talking about elements here. Really, at the end of the day.
Virtues, still.
Okay, Ken had another story. I'm sorry, I jumped around a little bit, Ken. It's all kind of
jumbled on,
mashed on my screen over here. He said, I've actually had to banish an angel because he was very angry that a church I had to close down and became a private residence. Do not be deceived by angelic entities. And you mentioned that closing it down had nothing to do with it closing. So, in occult circles, and we talked about this when we talked to you about demons, that angels are considered in occult circles to be more difficult to work with than demons. And this is referring to things like Solomonic magic. We're talking about evoking an angel, perhaps in either like a circle or some sort of, like a triangle or that kind of thing. Going back to that sort of Solomonic magic, right? The angels, which all have sigils like demons, oftentimes are more harder to work with. So I wanted to bring up a couple other things here.
Hey, Maria and Barbara Colbrown.
Oh, 1 sec. Okay, yeah, that's speaking of demons, the Infernal Dictionary. So here you see a lot of different hybrid-like animals with different faces, right? This was first published, I'll just read this to you real fast, in 1818, divided into 2 volumes, 6 reprints, but the artwork's pretty famous. And you can see here that many of these.
That's the one. It's Asmodeus, right? The one with the 4 faces.
That's Asmodeus there, I believe.
That looks like one of the angels from in the book of Ezekiel.
Right. Very similar. And again, biblically, if we're talking about fallen angels, we're talking about the same creature.
Right. Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts? Joshua, you came across an angel. Ken, when you banished that angel, what was your impression? What did it look like to you? Let us know in the comments. If you've had any kind of angelic experience, we'd love to hear about it, good or bad. Anne-Marie Young says, I think angels are not human. It's more of an energy with a pecking order, same as demons. Okay. Right. That's kind of what we're saying. You know, Dionysus had said there were 9 orders, and he wrote that a long time ago. The church tends to believe that. A lot of theologians follow that. And then you see, you know, the same thing in those goetic demons that I showed you just now, those kind of hybrid looking demons. They also are like, you know, the general of the 7 legions of hell and that kind of thing. They get these kind of titles, you know, so there's a pecking order there for sure.
Can
you repeat the question? I was pouring a Coca-Cola. Okay, Ken, I was asking you, that angel that you banished, you had to, that was pissed off. What was your psychic impression of it? Do you have an idea of what it looked like? That was my question. Visually, what did you see there? And for those of you who don't know, Ken's a great friend of ours, and he's an occultist. He works with paranormal teams, does investigations, but he takes things from an occult perspective. And I love that about him, which is a really cool thing. I'm glad that's, you know, he's out there doing that. Joshua says, it looked like an all-loving being, and I know it sounds cliche, but it did have wings.
Wow.
Oh, there you go.
That's there really cool. Barbara Cole Brown asked, do you think angels need portals to enter our realm? And that is an excellent question. That's an
excellent question. Yeah, it really is. You know, or can they just show up? You know, and the idea of the Solomonic magic, you're sort of containing that said angel, right? You're trying to bring it about, give it a place, using things like sigils and, you know, words, usually words of God, you know, Adonai and things of that nature to command and control it, which would explain why it might be pissed off. Would prayer open a portal? Well, I think it may well do that, you know, and a lot of people say that. And if you pray to the certain angels or particular angels, you may get that response. There's certainly lots of books that state exactly that. And you think about it, prayer is just putting your intents, which is what, you know, magic and is all about. And spell work is just a focus of intents. So is there that would happen? Yeah, I think that absolutely could happen. Ken says, I had to employ Orbas, which is a demon, to help me. He appeared as a ball of blackness. Imagine, I firmly believe he appeared that way because he was angry at what I did, and he was angry that I enjoyed a demon to banish him. Well, yep, I would bet that would piss him off.
It would.
So again, a lot of different perspectives here, right? It's interesting to see how that could work. So employed. Oh, not just enjoyed. Well, you probably enjoyed employing.
Yeah.
You enjoyed the employ of the demon to banish the angel, and that worked, which is a very interesting story, and definitely not the point of view that the church would like to maintain, right? So I think they could be just different things, and that we can't really wrap our heads around them. Like somebody mentioned, maybe they appear a certain way just to, you know, help us understand what they are, to not scare us. You know, do you guys think that maybe plays into like the paranormal even? People see an apparition or they see something scary like a shadow figure.
Really?
Right? Joshua says, not an angel if it's dark or angry. Well, it apparently identified itself as such, but changed its appearance because it didn't care anymore. So let's take the time travel here and look at a few other pictures. Oh, yeah, this one, Queen of the Night. I like this.
Oh, yeah.
So this is often, I think, misrepresented as Lilith, but it is a Mesopotamian goddess. It could be Ishtar. Nobody's totally sure. Goddess of sexual love or war, or perhaps Ishtar's sister and rival, the goddess, not even going to attempt to pronounce her name, who ruled the underworld. The goddess was originally painted red, so there's some red. And you see there, besides having the wings, She has tools in her hand, and she has horned feet, and her animals around her, right? There's 2 owls. And I don't know what those are, jackals.
She's got claw feet.
She has claw feet. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Like a bird.
Mm-hmm. Just it represents also a bunch of stuff in Egypt. So what we're saying is there's a lot of correlations from the cradle of civilization, is what they call it now, all the way down to now.
Right. This idea of wings.
Yeah.
And again, wings weren't in the First Testament, but there you see it. You see it in the artwork that predated the Bible. I've got a few others here. Take a look at that. I showed that guy already. Did you look at that already?
I don't know. That's insane. That thing. That's just this stuff is crazy.
Oh, this one I didn't look at. The Assyrian. Did we look at him?
Yeah.
Before. Sorry, guys. Just getting us together.
80,000 tabs. Okay.
Yeah, way too many tabs. Way too many tabs for St. Patrick's Day.
Joshua Dixon said she's ready to fly, but firmly planted.
All right.
That's
all right.
Excellent.
Yes. That is a good observation.
Yes.
Now, let me bring this one up. Well, I got a few different pictures because there were a few we wanted to share. This one is pretty cool. There with the wheels, and you see the many wings. And this is taken, literally. If you look at that, and that's what a head could possibly look like. Oh yeah, right. There,
That's one of them. Yes.
Like, what is that? But it's not far off from the Infernal Dictionary at all.
Nope.
Not at all. So, stop sharing.
I don't know. What do you guys think about that, especially that picture?
And there's Steve Auclair, our buddy.
Hi, Steve.
And he was just on our show last week. That was last Thursday, right?
It was.
I hope you're drinking the green beers, Bob.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we just like to get your thoughts, and we wanted to call this Angel Week. We thought it'd be interesting to show those, if you weren't familiar with them, that these angels could appear, or at least are described in the Bible as something that seems, extraordinary, and get your mind thinking, like, what is this creature? And is, could it be an alien? Not saying it's aliens, but maybe it is. What about these hybrids? These walking cats that dress themselves. Hey, could happen, right? It seems to happen. It seems to happen historically through ancient art. If you go back to that Mesopotamian art, and you'll see, things like horses, centaur-like creatures. Certainly, Greek mythology is full of these things.
Yeah.
It's all there, right? So all this predates the biblical writings, which get even a little bit stranger. Yet so many people talk about experiences with angels. Again, our guest on Saturday actually paints them. Mm-hmm. They're beautiful paintings. They don't look anything like, the more or less horrifying wheels with eyeballs on them that we were just showing. And we're going to talk to her about that and how that plays into her psychic abilities. I believe she also is an NDE. And Joshua, that's a pretty much a near-death experience there as well. So, that fascinating that you would see that. And
Herb's with them too.
Oh yeah, am I still sharing the screen?
Her. Yeah, no, this is different.
Okay, there's a little delay there.
It's like a 5-minute delay on YouTube. So
yeah,
each face represents something different.
Exactly, and they do. They represent aspects of things. They represent animals, domesticated animals, humans, and
the lion
birds,
was for strength, and the bird was for all birds, and yeah.
I find fascinating, and these things must have been important to the cultures at the time. Animal domestication.
And Joshua Dixon just said, he says, I've heard of human-animal metamorphosis.
Barbara says, I can just visualize a Picasso caveman making all this stuff up on a cave wall. Well, some of that cave art painting is actually really good, right? For the time, and it's super old. Steve says, a lot of people believe in mechanical angels machines. What say? Well, like mechanical elves, Steve? That's the DMT story, is that people see these mechanical elves. Mm-hmm. And I can't say I've seen mechanical elves myself, but I have heard the story repeatedly from different people.
I just wanted to let you know.
Us, I'm sorry. Says, where are you guys located? We're in New England, Brent.
I'm typing them now.
And
yeah, that Rupert Sheldrake. Rupert Sheldrake. Oh my God, Rupert. I think I'd be drinking. Sheldrake. He was best friends with Terrence McKenna. If anybody knows who that is.
He used to hang out a lot together. You can find videos on YouTube with Terrence and Rupert hanging out. Rupert is like super brilliant.
Wicked.
There's an interview with him and Graham Hancock.
Oh my God, yeah.
That came out recently, like maybe a month ago. And it's got like a gazillion views. Highly recommend it. If any of that panpsychism is fascinating to you, the idea of material science having limitations and that there might be something more there, I totally recommend that you go and check it out. Yeah, we're from New England. And let's see. Anne Marie says, I have felt them also during an NDE. Told me not my time. Yeah, I remember you telling us this, Anne, I believe. Not my time. Felt them when we thought my dad was dying, told me not his time. It wasn't then, but when he did die, I heard it's his time. So interesting. The whole clairaudient experience is interesting. Kristen gets more of them than I do, but I've had them as well. Had one in the hospital, just say my name, like Chris, like right in my ear, like where I could
he was
feel a face, like it was right next to me talking in my ear, and there was nobody around me at all, like not at all, just no way.
It was in the hallway.
Yeah, but it was empty. It was nobody there. I was waiting for a room. We had the experience in Spider Gates where we both heard somebody yell, and I know I told the story recently, so I hate retelling it, but she had her recorder out with the headphones, and everything that she's hearing is coming through that recorder. And we both heard a voice say hello, very loudly, enough to make us both jump in the air and like who is that? And look around, and there was nobody there. I guess that would be a clairaudient experience.
I guess so. Hello, Miss Gail. Hi.
Hey, Gail. Gail says, happy St. Patrick's Day hugs. Love you guys. We love you too. And hope you're doing well. We got to catch up, Gail.
Yes.
Absolutely.
She's from a small, medium at large.
Small, medium at large podcast.
She just had Ellie on, who was on our show last week.
That's right.
So you guys
if you enjoyed a show with Ellie, Alina, do check out Small, Medium at Large. Gail just had Ellie on there, and he has a whole bunch of great guests.
Oh gosh, yes.
Russell Targ, awesome people. So, yep, that's fantastic. And I see our internet is getting a little strange. But we definitely need to catch up. Joshua says, I think Kristen Johnson is very psychic, or they attracted to her personality. Well, I would have to agree with you, Joshua.
Okay, thank you.
She is a little psychic.
They're attracted to my personality as well.
Yeah. She's been haunted her whole life.
I have.
She has. And that is our story. No.
Actually,
it's not all glorious.
No.
But
do not like shadow figures, and I, for some reason, cannot watch The Nun. I can't even see the movie The Nun. I can't even see the picture. I freak out.
The face,
so it
right?
has to do something
remind
like
you of the shadow figures you saw as a child.
Plus,
and if those you don't know, if you're new to the show, I'll throw this out real quick. Like, our story is this: like, we both had haunted childhoods, and as have almost all our guests, which just seems to be an interesting statistic. And in Kristen's case, it was pretty traumatizing. She was pushed down a flight of stairs. When we started dating years back,
I was 7. My mom.
We weren't 7 when we were dating.
No.
For God's sakes, we've been together a long time. No. She didn't want anything to do with the paranormal, where I'd already been into it. I'd been in teams, that kind of stuff. And I was kind of like gave it up because of it, you know, and it kind of died down. Well, okay, she didn't like this stuff because it actually scared her.
It does scare me.
But
And
she happens to live in a haunted residence, or at least be a haunted person, for sure, as we both are. And activity grew, and we did some spirit box work and trying to gather electronic voice phenomena, and did really easily. And now she's like the first person to want to play the data back.
It took me 3 weeks to listen to that data. That's how bad it was.
Joshua asked how we met.
God, this is really bizarre.
Oh, we have entire shows on this.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've crossed paths like our whole lives. We grew up a town away from each other.
Both our parents were antique dealers. So
both of our parents are in the same business. They were antique dealers. Interesting to note, her parents had an antique shop over in Rehoboth, over by Anawan Rock, which is a known haunted location. It was the giant rock that marks the end of King Philip's War, and she used to play there. We're both only children growing up, and we'd have a lot of time on our hands. And it's a good chance we crossed paths there through that work, going to flea markets and shows, and going, as far as we mentioned Wellfleet, but you guys don't know, it's kind of a long way in Broomfield. Yeah, these are like hours of driving to get to, but we've both been there likely at the same times.
We met, and he dated my best friend. I
dated one of her friends in high school.
And he remembers, what did you say?
I remember that what you were wearing when I met you. You had a bright red sweater.
Skirt.
Yeah, on. And I was like, I think I'm dating the wrong girl.
Yeah, sweet.
Sorry.
But
it's kind of true.
Kind of went to parties and stuff and different towns, different places. And it just wasn't meant to be yet, basically.
Right. Later on, I would go on to play in different bands.
And, oh, my God.
And she was, with her beau at the time, and who really liked my bands, apparently, and would show up at my shows and stuff. So, yeah, there's a lot of history there, Joshua. So beautiful. So happy you became a couple. Yes. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. And yes, I totally understand. It scares the hell out of me too sometimes still.
It's weird how life has the synchronicities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we call it, synchronicities.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We have quite a few, and that is kind of our story. I got Kristen into the paranormal, who just didn't want to do it and really loves it now. And
now he calls me a haunted bag of squirrels. So here you go.
Right. It has more to do with attention span than
I do
than anything paranormal. but
I love my squirrels.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Can't help it. I just want to do everything all at once.